What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Scratch Agency Podcast, hosted by Scratch Agents for Scratch Agents. My name is Stephen Turnbull, founder of T5 Insurance Services in Clinton, New York, and I'm joined by my co-host today, the one and only, you already know, hold your applause, Mr. Sean Fitzgerald from Sound Harbor Insurance in Long Island, New York. Mr. Fitzgerald, we already know how you're doing today, working 1,856 leads today over there. We know you're rocking and rolling. I am super excited. We've been trying to get Jason on the show for a while. We're going to jump right into it. Jason and I met real briefly in my early days of a Scratch Agent in Nashville at the IOA conference out there, but haven't connected past just social media and stuff. So, Jason, looking forward to having you on. I appreciate you taking the time. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for this is awesome. Been wanting to get on your show, so I'm honored.
We appreciate you being here. Let's just dive into the backstory. We talked about you started Kilgo Insurance Scratch in 2016. You had some time at GEICO. You had some time at Allstate, and kind of what got you into the insurance industry in the first place. And then we can talk about the specific topics we wanted to.
Perfect. Yeah, I really feel like I've had the perfect leaping stone, leap pads. Needed a job, started at GEICO, was their top seller in the nation in 2005. Decided to get out of there, go commission only, and being a loan officer, mortgage loan officer. Learned a lot there, and then went back and decided to be an agency owner with Allstate. Learned a lot there, left there, and started my agency in 2016.
Nice, Jason. What did you learn at GEICO? Like, how was the training that they put you through from a sales perspective? Like, what did that whole process look like? Because I'm sure it must have been very rigid and structured there, you know?
It was intense. I think it was great because it really prepared me for all the things that we're doing now. I really take our training the same way. So you go in and it is a solid month of just studying and them going over things to get you to pass the test. I mean, I think they have they did at that time, and this is 20 some years ago, but I think they had like a 90% pass rate on their candidates that went through to get licensed. So you get licensed and then you go out and they really just break you down into going through calls. You're constantly being educated on what the coverages are. You're being quizzed. I know I just read an article that Bill Belichick used to quiz all of his offensive and defensive linemen, and you think, oh, the job's easy. All they got to do is block. But there's all kinds of schemes and things and defenses and offenses that other teams are running against. So he would just meet you in the hall and just start quizzing you.
Stay sharp.
And so we've done the same thing over here at Kilgo. We're trying to quiz people to make them sharp, keep them educated, make them adaptable, and all the insurance changes all the time. You got to know your stuff. You got to be on top of your game. You are the expert.
Yeah.
So I really love that that way that GEICO handled things. I think one of the things that also GEICO did was, the culture there. They really get you bought in, and they also throw you out there like you're one. You go to class one day and basically they're just like, okay, who wants to take a live call? I mean, no preparation. I mean, you've been studying, you've been taking quizzes, you've been going through things, and then the next thing you know, you're taking live calls. And I'm proud to say I sold my first one. So,
wow.
It's like you're nervous.
Yeah.
Your hand, your palms are sweating, and you just get through it. They do a really good job taking you through the call and making sure that you're about education of your coverages. And then they're really big on the close. I think everybody can agree with that. That's ran up against GEICO. They are super good closers. And why they are good is they constantly, consistently are training you on that every single moment of the day. So they had a rule for us that you had to close at least 3 times to get off the phone. So let's say you took a call and you're $500 higher. You've got to come up with an objection. I mean, obviously they're training you, they're helping you, but you've got to come up with that objection on how I'm going to still close this thing being $500 higher. And I don't think people today, especially in the independent world, take that approach. I think it's too relaxed.
100%.
They just say, okay, I'm just going to send the email and we'll follow up. There was none of that at GEICO. Because if you did sell it, you did close it, but they weren't ready. They didn't. They needed a VIN. They needed a driver's license. They needed their check. If they didn't have it and you didn't settle on that call, you didn't get paid, even though you sold it.
So they wanted you to sell it on the first call.
You got to sell it on the first call, or you don't get it.
Wow.
Diving a little bit more into that experience, there's something you brushed over that I want to bring back of being the top seller in the nation for the company, which is remarkable. And to just take us through like your time there from the first call that you said that you took the first live call and sold it to becoming the top seller for a company that large.
Yeah, I get that question a lot. And it really just comes down that I did not quit. I didn't quit on a call. I didn't quit on any call. Every single call I took, I expected to close it. I assumed the sale. I never quit on a call. I mean, shoot, you're taking 30 calls a day. I don't know, 300 sometimes a year. I just didn't quit.
Is that how many? It is? It was about 30 a day.
On average, you're taking about 30 calls a day.
Wow. And those are new leads coming in.
Those are new leads coming in.
I love it.
So I averaged about 30 quotes. So I had 25. I mean, you could really say 25 to 35, but I think the average is 30. And I would close on average 12.
That's great. That's great. And how did those leads come in? Were they like, or was it just that your phone rings, you pick it up, or was it like an email and then you call it, or both?
Yeah, you're waiting for the phone to ring, and it does not stop.
I would imagine so.
You hang up with one call, you're right on the other. You're right on to the next.
Yeah.
So I didn't quit, but I'm also very competitive.
Yeah.
And I think as agency owners or people in this business, you have to have that inner drive that you can't teach. Mm-hmm. And that's really what separated me, that I didn't quit and I had that inner drive. So my first year, this was my first full year on the floor. I promised GEICO to hire me. If they hired me, I would take out their number one salesperson, and I did. So the first year, 2003, I was number one in our region. I go to the award ceremony. They're like, congratulations, you're number one in the region, and you're 23 in the nation. I'm like, whoa. 23 in the nation? I was like, I thought it was number one. I was like, wait a minute, this stuff is ranked nationally? I was like, why didn't anybody tell me about this? So the 2004, I came in with a vengeance that I want to be number one in the nation. Well, unfortunately for me, there's the guy that I was competing with, he got some drive because he was building a house and he wanted to pay it in cash. So me and him and I battled in 2004. I ended up taking back seat. He was number one. I was number two. I finished 15th in the nation. And then in 2005, I said, okay, I'm putting the gloves on. I'm not losing this year. And that's the year I finished number one in our region and number one in the nation.
That's awesome. So you did about 30 a day. So I'm assuming GEICO, you were just.
So I did 2,616, I think it is, or 1,616 policies in 1 year.
Wow.
That's insane. And they're not having you do any service. You're just doing nothing but sales calls all day.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's what we believe in our agency as well.
Yeah. I think it's a smart strategy. Sorry, you go too far.
Yeah, I want to pivot into that. So take us to 2016 when Kilgo was born. Talk to us about the early days and then what you've learned from those GEICO's days to adapt into what you have at your agency now.
Yeah, I wanted to get into a position of leadership. I wanted to get into a position of ownership, entrepreneurship. I'm very proud of our name, my name. I wanted it on the door. I wanted legacy for me and my family. I'm not an agency that wants to sell out. I want my name to last past my death. So that was extremely important to me. I have always dreamed of running a team and having a mission to educate and help people live life confidently through their insurance. I don't think people understand what they're paying for. I think the states do a poor job. Everybody says, "Hey, you have to have insurance; it's required by law," but nobody explains it. There's no class. There's really no education behind it. I mean, I got into the insurance field just like thousands of others, where it was basically I needed a job or it was an accident.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I fell into it, I saw oh my gosh, I love this job. What a great career path. And I wanted to offer those opportunities to others. And I wanted to make sure, unlike GEICO, you're only on the phone for 15 minutes or less. I mean, that 15 minutes or less is real deal. They do not want you on the phone for longer than 15 minutes. I heard a wild ratio that if you're over the phone more than 15 minutes, they actually lose money.
Makes sense. I mean,
it's based on numbers.
I mean, I think about it like we track all of our, like we use Risk Advisor. We go through the fact finding whenever it's a personal lines call. I would say it's average around 11, but I could see if it went over 15, like you're listening to somebody, you're being somebody's therapist at that point,
Right. Yeah, but I guess that's what I'm getting at. It doesn't have to be that. I think the way you interpret what someone understands is very different than what somebody's really grasping. The clarity has to be there. And we do this job day in, day out. It's like the back of our hand for us. We know the insurance, but they don't.
Yeah.
So you have to really unpack that and take your time on these calls. Like, can we sell a call in 10 minutes? Yeah, we can sell a call in 10 minutes. But why? If the client still doesn't understand what they're purchasing, it's not settling in, right? Then that call needs to go longer. And are we building rapport? Do they understand the story? We role play a lot of storytelling over here.
I like that.
That's real big. We go back to GEICO training. I missed a huge part of the training. They did a lot of role playing, ton of role playing, and a ton of what we call double jacking, which they would go out there and sit you next to somebody on the floor, on the live sales floor, and listen to their calls with them. So then after the call, they would pause it, and we would have an interaction of, okay, what did you think of that call? What could have been said different? How could we have handled it? How could we have closed better? If it did close, do you think that client was delighted? Do you think their experience was the best they could have gotten from any other insurance company? So those things are real live, hands-on, actionable, coaching that we could really grasp and get us to perform better when it was our turn to go live. So it was huge. I mean, every day we were doing role playing, every day.
Yeah, I don't know if you do that, T5. That's something I definitely got to step up. I'm not role playing like I should be. That's for sure. And especially with the salespeople in the office, like, I take for granted Ryan's getting 10 plus leads a day, and I just take for granted he's good. He's hitting his numbers. But like you said, Jason, like that's what's going to keep you sharp and on top of your game. So I need to do a better job there. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you think of all the stats that you want to measure, close ratio is one of them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Getting leads and marketing is huge, and it's a priority. I think a lot of agencies struggle with that. But what you're getting in, are you maximizing your return on investment?
That's a great point.
Yeah, and you need to know what your break-even point is. Like, hey, if you're not closing at least 15% of the leads you purchase, you're losing money at that point.
And I'll just say, taking the calls at GEICO, my goal was always to stay at 45%.
45% from lead to close, or from?
That's right,
yeah.
From lead to close. Because remember, we only got one shot. There was no follow-up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
So you had one crack at it, or you missed out on money.
Yeah. So,
or you missed out on the opportunity.
Jason, what do you specialize in now that you opened up your own agency? Do you have a niche? Are you doing a little personal commercial? What does that whole build out look like?
Yeah, so like a lot of agencies, we've had to adapt.
Yeah.
We built this agency on organic referrals from loan officers and real estate agents. I was very blessed that I'm a likable guy, and we don't have any enemies. So all the mortgage loan officers that I was competing with when I was a loan officer, I've stayed friends with. And we work real hard. I work real hard to build those relationships up to get referrals. Just like everybody, that's slowed down with the market, with the way the economy's going. So we have since transitioned over to more of a commercial front, but we've taken the same approach. So right now, we are heavily marketing to accountants, payroll reps, to build those referral base for commercial leads.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like an interesting niche on the commercial side. Do you have like if you don't mind me asking, like the carrier makeup, do you have like a specific carrier? Because I know it's not like now you got multiple carriers, you can't do the so-called one call close. Maybe you can, depending on the niche that you're calling on. But how have you, like, kind of what have you taken from GEICO, and what top things have you taken from GEICO and adopted it to your agency from a sales perspective, like going after the commercial stuff?
Yeah, that's one thing we compete very nicely with on GEICO, and of course GEICO's changing the script too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, now they're handing out independent claims, so
yeah.
they're having to adapt to us, not us to them, right? And we all knew that was coming.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the best things we offer: options.
Yeah.
As an expert, I can give you options and educate you and advise you on where you need to go, not just to save money and get the best deal, but on the gaps of coverage.
Yeah.
So
100%.
we have 30 plus carriers. We don't have that problem.
Yeah.
So we have a carrier for everything.
Yeah.
The carrier, the product is not the problem anymore. It is the trust, the education part. It is building that relationship with that business owner, earning their trust, because we don't do anything else. We don't buy leads. So we not only we want the experience to be above and beyond what that business owner has seen before or can imagine, but we want referrals from that business owner, because they hang out with other business owners, right?
Yeah.
They have masterminds. They have, if you're great at what you do, you're not afraid to share. And so, those are the great ones that we're going after. Those are the leaders in the community that we want, because they know people. So we're going to give them a great experience. They're going to love us because we've taken the time to build the relationship, show them the coverages that they need, get them the best deal because we put them in the right carrier. And then we're getting referrals from that.
Nice.
I want to go back a little bit, and just to give you a little background on this, I would say we have a mix of listeners that are either scratch agents in, let's call it 1 to 5 years, or also producers that are thinking about going scratch. I want you to take us back to 2016. I know you had a stint between GEICO and Kilgo with Allstate, but and take us back to the high performer that you are and the producer that you are to adapting to being the agency owner, and challenges or successes you had around that, because we talk a lot of people that are either great producers and are thinking, oh, I'm gonna go own the agency because I'm producing all this for my agency owner, and how different those roles truly are. And you said already, my objective is I want to lead people, I want to have a team, I want to lead a team, I want to be able to do that. But talk to us about that adaptive being the number one sales guy for GEICO to the agency owner, and how that was for you.
Yeah, when I worked at GEICO, I was perfectly happy there for a time, because I'm in my early 20s and I am crushing it. I'm making more money than I could have ever imagined. I come from a low middle class family. I had aspirations. My goal was always, let's make 6 figures. And once I did that at GEICO, I told myself I'm perfectly happy. What happened is, just like the world, GEICO changed culture. They changed, how they wanted to run things, and I didn't agree. I felt like I was getting pushed out. They went more on a subjective. I could sell a call, but if they didn't think it was a great call, I wouldn't get commission on it, even though I sold it. And it was judged by people that were not of my sales level. And so, it's management, it's corporate business, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're always poking the bear, trying to figure out how they can make things better as a big picture. But as an employee, and one of your best employees, that kind of cuts me out. They figured, hey, I'm going to be here regardless. We're trying to get the bottom people up. And I get it as a company. It just wasn't for me. So really, I got pushed out. I had to make some decisions. Either I was going to suck it up and this was going to be the job the rest of my life, or I could take it upon me to make some changes for me. I did something extremely scary. Not many people can do it. I was making six figures and went commission only into mortgages. I dove straight in and really did not make money for 4 to 6 months. I was living with someone at the time, and it was a little scary. I didn't know I was going to be able to pay rent or how I was going to pay a car note, and I just saved up enough that I was like, okay, I'm going to jump right in and do this. And that's what mortgages really taught me. So GEICO taught me how to sell on the phone. It taught me how to run a culture. It really helped me develop the sales call process we have with this agency. But getting into mortgages taught me entrepreneurship. Like, no one is going to come behind you and help you.
Yeah.
I had no, I had no family coming to help me. I was on my own. I was on an island, and it was just me versus the world, and I've got to make it happen. And I started bringing in loans. I told myself, I don't know anybody. What am I going to do? The one real estate agent I knew had sold me a house, and that's where I started. I started talking with her and said, hey, I'm a loan officer now. Can you send me referrals? And we built that relationship up. But what I decided to do was I made sure everyone knew my name, whether they knew me or whether they were going to use me or not. Everyone knew that I was a loan officer, whether you used me, whether you're going to use me or not, whether you like me or not, you knew what I did.
Yeah.
And I went to so many, real estate agents that I didn't even think I was going to win the referral relationship. But I said, hey, just put me in second place. Something eventually will fall apart because they're not me, and you're going to give me a call. And believe it or not, that's what happened. And here's another thing that happened. First day of work, I said, who's the best person in our region for mortgages? And they're like, oh, this guy up in DC, he's the best. I was like, I want an appointment with him. I go up to DC. I drive 2 hours up to DC, and I walk in, and there's three ladies at three desks. They're on the phone nonstop. I walk in, and she does one of these numbers, like, you're gonna have to hold up. And I'm like, wow, what am I walking into? I go in there, and she goes, who are you here for? I said, oh, I'm here for such and such. She goes, okay, 1 minute. She makes a phone call. She goes, okay, right this way. Go into that office. I go into that office. The guy is on the phone. When I walk in, he just tells me, he's like, have a seat. So I sit down. I'm waiting for him. He's on the phone in front of me. I was like, oh, my gosh, this is like so disrespectful. Like, what the heck is going on here? He hangs up the phone. He goes, you got 5 minutes. What do you want to know? I said, I want to know everything. He said, get an assistant. And before I could say another word, he said, I know what you're going to say. I don't have any money. He's like, I don't care. Get an assistant. So that's what led me to know you got to have a team. You got to have people make your company, not you. I can brand this beard. I love our logo. We got a brand new logo. I love your logo. Your logo is sweet. I love that. I mean, you guys have got things going on. The logo is cool. The branding's cool. The people, the team is what makes your company. Mm-hmm. And that's what I learned from that. And so I come back to Bank of America. That's where I was working at the time. I was like, hey, I need an assistant. They were like, yeah, you need to do some loans for us. I was like, no. Get me an assistant. And I pushed on it so much, I got one, and he was right. It made all the difference in the world, because what happens is now I can do the executive things that I need to do. I went out and built relationships. That assistant went and did all the paperwork. I wasn't doing the paperwork. The system was doing the paperwork. The processor was handling all the conditions. And man, I was closing a crazy amount of houses. I mean, I can remember one December. December's like, statistically speaking, probably the worst month to be a loan officer. I mean, buying a house, selling a house, I'm sure you guys feel the same way, right? December's tough, right? You got Christmas in there. I did 25 loans in December one year. Actually, every year we were great in December, but I remember that was like my high. I mean, so I was doing really well in that, but I wanted more. Bank of America in 2008, recession hit, crazy. So what do we have to do? We have to adapt again, right? And it's the resilience.
Yeah.
I call it the fun part, right? A lot of people are scared, fearful. They got to have that. It's something that can't be taught. You got to have the drive. I tell my son all the time, dude, you're a big kid, but I can't teach you drive. You got to want it, man. If you want it, I can help you. If you don't want it, why play? So those stepping stones of where I went through guided me here. It was destiny for me to be here. I'm loving and enjoying every day of it. There's ups and downs, but it's the adapting, it's the resilience, it's the never giving up, it's the no quit, it's the discipline, it's the consistency, it's the confidence, the self-esteem. You just can't be scared. I tell my son all the time, he's going up against big kids too. I tell him, you can't be scared, man. You got to keep your head on a swivel. And that's how we run. That's how I run my business as well. And that's kind of what led me. So there's agents that are thinking about, starting their agency. There's a lot of reasons out there not to. Can't get appointments. The market's tough. There's not enough house listings. Where am I going to get my leads? How's somebody going to come work for me? I can't afford to pay anybody. There's a lot of negative thoughts. You got to be above it. Yeah. You got to rise above it, and you got to want it. If you want it, nothing can stop you.
100%. So with the early days of Kilgo, did you start with a team?
I did. It was one employee and me. And at that point, we did things a little differently. We went and we were all sales, obviously, right? You don't have a lot to do with service. Mm-hmm. This was before service centers and VAs were a thing, right before that, right? I think people were starting to build these VA companies. So we didn't have that yet. There was no automation, no virtual assistant, no AI. So, yeah, we're just out there beating the streets and grinding. It was about having coffees with somebody different every day. It was about lunches, dinners, whatever we had to do to build those relationships in the community to get people to realize who we were. Because, when we're stacked up against, your State Farms, your GEICOs, your Allstates, nobody knows who we are. Nobody knows who Kilgo is. So we had to get out there and make a name for ourselves. So that's where we started. And slowly but surely, we kept stacking it up.
That's awesome. From a prospecting perspective, when you transitioned slightly into commercial, what did that look like? Was it the same type of metrics you were tracking, like lunches with accountants, or what did that look like?
We have a scorecard every Monday, and it's about who's seen what and how many calls have we made, who have we reached out to. Luckily for us, we're very tech driven, so we got a lot of AI stuff. We've got a lot of automations already plugged in, but none of those things surpass the human touch, the relationship that you build. So we've got some pretty big meetings coming up with some accountants, with business owners, and that's what we do. You've got to get the meetings. The appointments are everything.
Yeah,
and show up to the appointment with the intent that you're going to build this relationship and it's going to work.
With the accountants, are you trying to write the account or using them as a business referral partner?
So we're trying to do both. So initially what we're trying to do is we're not going in there and saying, hey, I'm an insurance agent, I'm trying to write your business, because I feel like that's what everyone's doing. Yeah. So what we want to do is, luckily for me, I've got some friends, so that kind of helps. And I think that's what people need to do. You need to look at your inner circle. Mm-hmm. You need to look at the people you know. I mean, we have clients right now in my book of business that are accountants. So I've reached out to them. Hey, look, how's things been with us? Are you happy with us? How things going? Oh man, I love you guys. You guys are awesome. Great. Can I just get a coffee with you? I'm just trying to go in and be their friend. Do I like this person? Do they like me? Because I think likability has a lot to do with it. Mm-hmm. If you like someone or you feel like this person really does care about you, that goes longer than any kind of phone call or any kind of sale or anything like that, because then it's lasting longer, right? Because we're building those referrals. Those people are going to want to refer us without even having to ask.
Sure. Jason, I got a good one for you. For good or for bad, if we could go back today to the day you unlocked the door in 2016 and started Kilgo, what would you tell yourself?
For the good or the bad, I hands down every single time. I would do that. I'm built for this. I was destined for this. Otherwise, I'd still be at GEICO.
What would you, maybe let me reframe one thing. What would you tell yourself if you could go back that you learned that maybe you didn't expect? For those that are listening that are in first couple of years of their agency journey, still trying to figure it out, or those that are listening and potentially taking the leap, like what would you tell yourself in that situation?
From my experience, I would have made. I think we needed a better process and interview process for hiring people. We're not perfect. We definitely had some turnover that has hindered us a little bit on people that I interviewed and under my decision thought were great people to bring on. That didn't work out. And they're good people. They just weren't a fit for us.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned from that. And right now we have a very long interview process because we really want to make sure that we get you bought in and we're a fit for you and you're a fit for us. And I'm not trying to hire someone for just 6 months. I'm trying to hire somebody for their entire career. You want to go on and and you think you've outgrown us, I'll help you. But I want someone bought in. And I think that is so hard right now. So hard. People are so hard to manage. People want different things. People are, I always have a saying, people are people. And I can't read your mind. I can never know what you're thinking, what you're going to do from one day to the next. But I need you bought into what we're doing as a purpose, as a mission, as our quarterly goals, as our scorecards. I need you synced in and focused and bought in that, hey, I'm coming in ready to work. I love Kilgo. I love waking up and doing this job. And that's what I would tell myself, because that's really, if I go back, we don't have a problem with sales. We don't have a problem with processes. We're doing great things on branding. I feel like, I think we're averaging I think we had a thing where we're like 5 to 6 pieces of content a day that we're shooting out. People know who we are now. We're very community driven. We're working with like 10 nonprofits. We got a lot of things going on, but people are what make the business, and they can make or break you.
Yeah.
If you have one bad employee, that can break your agency.
I think that is such gold, especially for scratch agents in the first year or so, or thinking about it that are listening, because that's like the last thing you think about, right? You're just like, how am I going to get revenue in the door? How am I going to start? We talk a lot about Sean's just over the 4-year mark. I'm over the 3-year mark. We talk a lot about acting as a big agency, as a small agency, in the sense of setting up those processes and but I think the last thing you think about is the interview process. How are you going to get people bought in? Because you're just focused on growing the book, writing business, being profitable, all those things, putting your head down and getting those first couple of years thought out. But to your point, that can make or break you if you don't have that set up as far as what type of people am I going to go after? How am I going to attract them? Who do I want in the seat in the bus and all those things? That's an excellent point.
Yeah, you think about it. You can't always be the one lifting the rocks, right? Hey, look, we have a direction we're going. We're going here. Got to have a team.
Yeah,
got to have people with you. It's I know there's all kinds of sayings. You want to go somewhere. You can go alone or with a team. I forget what's that saying. You need people, good people.
Yeah.
Backing you up. And that's where we have really, we were at first, and I won't say that we were, I think everybody, and I think it's so cliche, hey, we just put butts in seats because we needed somebody.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. I really don't feel like we did that. We just didn't hire properly because there was no hiring process. And the process that we had that we thought was great wasn't great. And you got to learn from it. And I don't think a lot of people do. That's the difference. Is we've changed our hiring process a ton. I've got a mastermind that I'm in, and I feel like every time I go to the mastermind meeting, I bring it up and we tweak it a little bit more because it's such an important part of your business is the people that you're working with.
Yeah, I agree with that too. And it's also like position driven, meaning what you might ask to a producer versus a personal lines account manager, their motivations are going to be completely different. So you need to be able to like navigate. You touched on it before, like navigating how to handle certain personalities,
Right.
So yeah, I'm with you on that. That's definitely a difficult part that we haven't talked about on the podcast before, for sure.
Last question.
I'll just add this in. We do a bunch of different personality tests now. We used to do just one. Now we do a bunch of them because people's minds and how they answer things from day to day could change.
Yeah.
And I want to get the realest information that I can get to make the best decision. I mean, we're at risk.
Right.
It's an investment risk on us. And most people only interview for an hour and make a decision on if that person's a fit or not. So we stopped doing that.
Yeah.
You can't get a job with us. It's going to take you a minimum of like 3 weeks.
Yeah. It's funny. I heard good advice about this. I just wanted to share is like, you have to think too, in that 1 hour, half hour, whatever that first call is, that person that you're interviewing is bringing their best game, their best. So like, I would say one thing I've learned from the process is like, if you have one little thing in your gut that is telling you like, hey, this probably isn't the best scenario, but you're just trying to fill a butt in the seat, like, don't do it, because chances are it's going to be way worse when they get their butt in that seat because they were bringing their A game and there were still a couple of things that made you feel kind of funny,
It's a great
point.
Yeah.
Jason, we got to wrap up because of time here, but I got one last question I have to ask you. From being on the inside, what is Jason Kilgo's thoughts about GEICO now going independent?
I love it. I got to say, I do love them as a company. I disagreed on certain things they did there at the end on judging calls. I think they're used for training. I don't think it should be used on jeopardizing your commissions. But I got to say, I'm still friends with supervisors that I had from that experience. Their training experience has made me who I am today, with an emphasis on education. I think it was great from them. My hat's off to them. I do like GEICO. I think they're a strong company. I mean, right now, I believe they're the number one auto insurer in the state of Virginia. So if they're going to give me that appointment, I'll take it.
Yeah.
And run with it.
I'm still waiting for that New York one.
Yeah, New York. We're always in the back burner. That's fine. That's not a GEICO problem. That's a New York problem.
You can't beat them, join them, right? Like, hey, if they're
100%.
I think it's super smart what they're doing. And those are the companies I want to be around.
Yeah.
The ones that are adapting, the ones that are changing, the ones that are stuck, they're not going to make it.
Well, yeah, my only concern is, are they going to, pull kind of like what an Allstate did? Allstate kind of opened up independently and then they pulled that back pretty quick. So I'm just hoping. It seems like GEICO's sticking to their guns, which is good. So I guess only time will tell.
We'll see. There's enough competition with it that we'll be okay either way.
Yeah.
But I think in Virginia, specifically speaking, as the state of Virginia, there's everybody knows who they are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's usually your first thought here. When
Same
you
as New York.
Okay.
Yeah, same as New York.
Yeah.
Probably everywhere.
It'll be interesting for sure.
Yeah.
Jason, thank you for joining us. This was incredible. Appreciate
awesome.
your support and appreciate you taking the time, and ton of good value in there. If anybody wants to reach out to you, where are you most active? Facebook? What's the best way to kind of follow your journey more?
Man, I like to say I'm everywhere. I'm like a leprechaun, man. I'm everywhere. So, find me on Facebook, message me. I'm always open for talks. I love talking to other agencies, helping other agents. Facebook, website, I'm KilgoInsurance.com.
Awesome. Everybody, that's another episode of the Scratch Agency Podcast. Thanks for joining us. Do us a favor, like the show, share the show, and subscribe. Make sure to check out our Telegram community, scratchagencypodcast.com. Click join the community. A lot of great conversations going on in there. Most importantly, remember to dig down deep, believe in yourself, and own your own future. We'll see you next week. Take care.